Hello, heebie-jeepsters! Welcome back to another episode. Today I'm going to be talking about something very weird. Not many people know about it actually. I didn't even know about it until not too long ago when I started doing research with it. The topic for today is the Dogman. So, to go and give you some history on it, the Dogman is described as a 7-foot tall animal that has the torso of a human or a man, whatever you want to call it. Supposedly, it lives in the forests and very dense forests, and its howl is like a human scream. And then apparently a lot of the sightings are centered in Michigan, but some sightings have been reported in Wisconsin, but they're like side to side to each other, so pretty much within that same area. People first started noticing in the 1800s, specifically 1887. They're also saying that a lot of these sightings only happen in a cycle. So they're saying that it happens every 10 years and they start on the years that end with the 7. So 1887 was the first sighting, so then 1907, blah, 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 to go on going forth. Little weird. So it first started to become a lot more known not too long ago when a radio host called Steve Cook actually recorded a song about it, and within the song he reported a sighting as well, and that's when people were like, what's happening here? Let's look into it. And then more and more people started coming forward. The first sighting, as I said previously, was in 1887. This one was a little weird because it more so seems like a creature that would have been scared rather than something that's terrifying like in other encounters. So it happened in 1887 with two lumberjacks who were in the forest doing what they do, and then they ended up coming across this very large animal, but again they said it had the torso or the body of a man with the head of a dog, which is really, really weird. So they were very scared by it, and then they started chasing after it, and it started running away from them like it was fearful, and then it ended up hiding inside a hollow log, and they wanted to see what it was, so they were poking at it, trying to get it out. And then once they started doing that, it let out the loudest, strangest shriek they had ever heard in their life, and then they booked it. They left. There isn't really much in the history books about whatever else happened there. So yeah, a little strange encounter, but it did start in 1887. To go back to more recent history and sightings about it, as I mentioned, the radio show host Steve Cook, he actually made a song about it, about a Dogman. He thought it was a fictional thing. He just made it up essentially. And then once it aired, a lot of people heard it, and then they're like, wait, I know what this thing is. I've seen it. I've had this experience. And then a lot of people started coming forward, and then it just became like this huge thing that blew up. One of the most famous sightings actually happened to a couple of young boys. The main boy, his name is John. He's the one who came forward to tell the story. He grew up in Wisconsin. He would often go to the forest just to have fun. Him and his family actually had a cabin close to Siren, Wisconsin, which is where he would often go with his family just to vacation, and he was around 12 years old when this was happening. But he did emphasize that the cabin where it was located, it was in the middle of a dense forest, in the middle of nowhere, and he would often get like an eerie feeling whenever he was out there, as if someone would be watching him from the dense forest, but he could never really see anything. Nevertheless, where his story started was that he went camping there again one of these years with his family, and this time one of his cousins had come along with him, and what they would often do would be hunting or other types of sports like that. So this day they ended up going into the forest and they were playing with BB guns. He was much more into it than his cousin was. He was dressed up in camo. He was ready for it in the forest hiding. He would go and hide under bushes. He would make these pretty intricate camo type of equipment to hide under, just to play effectively with his cousin. when they were playing, he ended up going to like this peak area so that he could have a better sighting of everything below, so he could see his cousin and catch him better or shoot him better with the BB gun, non-violently, of course. And when he was there, he ended up calling out to his cousin saying that he was tired, he wanted a little break before they kept going. So everything was fine. But when he had called for the timeout, not too long after it, he felt and heard nothing, which is very, very weird being in a forest. And as people who go into the forest to camp, or people who are hunters, that they know that this is often an indicator that there is a large animal nearby. So all other animals or prey, they just go silent to pretty much hide from the predator. So he was really, really creeped out by this. So he began scanning the area, looking to see what it was. He thought that it might have been a bear or some other large animal predator that would be in the forest at that time. He was looking, didn't see anything. And then out of nowhere, all he sees is this massive jaw with huge white canine looking teeth. And the animal was staring down at him like a predator. He froze completely, like he was in shock. What do you do when you see this animal that you've never seen before and it looks like it wants to eat you? You freeze or you run. So he kind of did both. He froze first, and then he started ran towards his cousin, and they were both booking it within seconds. But as fast as they were running, they said that they felt that this thing was literally right behind them. No matter how fast that they ran, it just kept up right behind them, and they felt like at any moment this thing would just grab them and eat them alive. As they felt that it would reach them in any second, they ended up finally getting to the cabin, and they lost track of it, which is really, really weird for an animal that was chasing them literally a few inches behind them. And they were terrified, so they just kind of tried to play it off and convince themselves that maybe it was like some type of wolf or a mountain lion, or maybe it was a bear, who knows, right? They tried to play it off, but nevertheless, because they were still scared, they wanted to tell John's mom about it. And coincidentally enough, she actually said that she had a similar experience in the forest. To go back a little bit, John was saying that every time he went camping there, or he visited the cabin, he said that he would always get this eerie feeling as if someone was watching him. Turns out his mom felt the exact same way every time they would go. But what happened to his mom though was one night in the same area that they were in, she was driving, and then she saw an animal crossing the road, but again, she thought it was a bear, or she thought it might have been some type of wolf. But then as she started to look closer to it, she noticed that it was literally twice the size of a wolf, and it moved very unnaturally, like, you know, in the movies, or like creepy type of lycanthrope type things. And it stared her down just like it did to her son and her nephew. And then it started charging at the car, going directly towards her, but then out of nowhere it decided to change its mind. I don't know. And then it ran into the forest and then just disappeared out of nowhere. She said it was one of the most terrifying experiences that she had. So I don't know, what is this? Is this some type of animal that we haven't discovered yet, that lives in the dense forests, like the oceans, right? It's so big. Who knows what animals, what species, or what prehistoric animals have lived to this day and age? Or is it a lycanthrope, something more paranormal, or is it something different? Is it in fact the Dogman? Let us know what you think. Let us know if you have any theories, and don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Bye!